Need computer training for a group or office? Contact us today to get a free demo of our training at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.
A pivot chart shows the data from an associated pivot table in a graphic format. You can easily create a pivot chart from the data displayed in a pivot table after you've created the pivot table if you didn't create a pivot chart when you initially created the pivot table. To create a pivot chart to accompany your pivot table, click into the pivot table that you want to view as a pivot chart. Then click the Pivot Chart button that appears in the Tools button group on the Options tab within the Pivot Table Tools Contextual tab of the ribbon. When you do this, Excel will open the Insert Chart dialog box. Here you will select the chart type and specific subtype that you want to use to represent the data within your pivot table. Then click the OK button to insert the selected chart into the worksheet. Note that you can click the drop-down arrows in the pivot table field list to filter what data is shown within the pivot chart, just like you can do with the pivot table. Also note that changes that you make to one object will be reflected in the other, as the pivot table is simply the data source for the pivot chart.
Like what you see? Get a free demo of our training for groups of 5 or more at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.